Okay, so these are the packages. As you can see, I told you that I have chosen some of these packages to install, but actually these packages are all from the main list, from this optional list. So if you take a look at it, you will see that there is Pro Backup, the Repack. You will see the PG Bouncer. You will see the Portal in here, the Pro Backup Standard 15, and also you will see these packages which I have selected for the server, for the contrib, for the client, for the libs, which are all also in here. So it's totally up to you. Now some of these are important, for instance, like the client, the server, the contrib. These are very highly advisable to install based on the manual, based on the documentation. They encourage you, when you do the server, then you do the contrib. When you do the server, then you do the contrib, and as well as with the client also. So I have these ones which I have in here. I have selected out of all these ones, but still you are free to go with whichever suitable for you. There are some which are necessary and some which are optional also. And the way to install is pretty easy. After we have now installed the server, and the server is up and running, the Postgres Pro server is up and running, you could just for instance, I have done this, the first one. You just sudo apt-get install or FCE standard 15. I have just installed it and it is already installed. So you could do each one of these ones in here. Each one of them you could do the same way as in here. So let's me do some of them that I have selected. So let's go with this one, both of them. Now remember again, we might face some difficulties in the installation because this is the first time we are doing this. Hopefully everything will go as planned. Lib becomes okay. So building dependency, already newest version, and then we don't need anything. We just do sudo apt auto remove if there is any duplicate packages. Okay, very well. Then now we need to try with the client. We'll see with it. In general, you could do this all by yourself, so it's already there. You could do them on your own if you wish. Installed, and then the documentation, hopefully it's also in there. Okay, so the documentation is also a nice one if you wish to download. Now once we will do the documentation, that's it. We will not go to the rest because it's totally, as I have said, totally up to you to select whichever package that is required by your development. Okay, now once we have finishing the installation then of the docs, of the documentation, then we can do one thing. We can do, if you wish to in your machine, if you wish the server to start at any time, your machine restart, then you could go with this setup, PG setup service enable. If you don't wish your server to start over at any time your machine start over, then you could clearly make it false and you have to start your server manually. If you wish to your server start automatically every time your machine restart, then go ahead with this code. Let us see if the documentation finished. It's still not. It's still 39. Now, once you have decided upon this to start automatically, then you could run the as normal as any PostgreSQL server from the previous structure, the sudo -u postgres PSQL, and you enter, and then you could create a database to connect any, let's say, create database name, whatever name, and then you could create a role, create role, role name, for instance, whatever role name, with the login, create DB, create role, replication. Now this is a very important thing to do, the replication, because now we want to do the replication in our server. If your user doesn't have a replication permission, you won't be able to do the replication. That user won't be able to do the replication. And then the password, whichever password suitable for you. And then you need to alter the ownership, alter the database owner to the user, the role name which you have selected. Once you have done these 3 steps, you created a database, you created a role, and then you change. Now you are good to go to start creating the tables that you wish in your database. Okay, takes some time, obviously. Hopefully that we have finished. Yes, the documentation have finished. Okay, so now we can start doing this, enabling our server to restart automatically. Okay, now our start system enable, as you can see here, enable. So now every time our machine restarts, our server also will restart. Now we can run our server. Hopefully it will work. Let's see. Very well. Now we have installed our Postgres Pro server. Our Postgres Pro server, it's up and running, and as you can see here, let's see, /l. Now we have our default Postgres user, and the default Postgres database, and the default user by the name of Postgres. Okay, here is the basic one entry to our server. Now you could create whatever database you wish, you could create whatever tables you wish, exactly as in here. Now all your data, remember, all your data will be resides in here, in this. Now this is standard 15, of course. All your data will reside in this directory, which is created by PG Pro. Let's see it if it's in there now, since we haven't created any database, but let's try to see if it is in there. So it's var lib PG Pro, var lib PG Pro, var lib PG Pro. It is var lib. Let's see the PG Pro, standard 15 data. Okay, so this is all our data that we will create from our database. It will be from this instance, from this cluster, it will be saved in here. From all our cluster, it will be saved in this specific directory. Okay, now we have created the PG Pro, and it's up and running. In next video we will talk about the configuration that we have talked about, setting up the firewall, checking about the server file and the client file, and see how we can add the user of a database to the pg_hpa.com file. Thank you very much.